And so that kind of research to give us more methods to point to AI-generated images and say that that's fake is good, but you can also use your common sense. I've talked about it before, how AI is a mess of STEM zone making. After all, it does come particularly from the science and technology side of things. And so there is a lot of fair concern, particularly as we're in the 2024 presidential election cycle in the US, about deepfake images, AI-generated images, and what that is going to mean for the influencing of public participation in the election, and all those kinds of things. They're very fair concerns. And so there's interesting research in that department that's coming up and trying to help folks figure out when an image is AI generated. And that's where this article from Science Daily comes in. This is July 17th, 2024. Want to spot a deepfake? Look for the stars in their eyes. In an era when the creation of artificial intelligence, AI images, is at the fingertips of the masses, the ability to detect fake pictures, particularly deepfakes of people, is becoming increasingly important. So what if you could tell just by looking into someone's eyes? That's the compelling finding of new research shared at the Royal Astronomical Society's National Astronomy meeting in Hull, which suggests that AI-generated fakes can be spotted by analyzing human eyes in the same way that astronomers study pictures of galaxies. Mm-hmm. The crux of the work by the University of Hull MSc student, I'm going to pronounce this person's name wrong, I apologize, Adejumok Owolabe, is all about the reflection in a person's eyeballs. If the reflections match, the image is likely to be of that of a real human. If they don't, they're probably fakes. Now, in a good quality picture, you can see the reflection off of someone's eye because of the covering that is over the eye, the conjunctiva, I believe, is the scientific name. I could be incorrect on that. Feel free to correct me. But the covering over your eye that provides a little bit of protection from your eye, for your eye, in addition to the eyelid, is reflective. So in a good quality photo, you can see the reflection off of someone's eye. Likewise, an AI image is going to have something of that nature in it, perhaps. The reflections in the eyeballs are consistent for the real person, but incorrect from a physics point of view for the fake person, said Kevin Pimblett, professor of astrophysics and director of the Center of Excellence for Data Science, Artificial Intelligence, and Modeling at the University of Hull. Researchers analyzed reflections of light on the eyeballs of people in real and AI-generated images. They then employed methods typically used in astronomy to quantify the reflections and check for consistency between left and right eyeball reflections. This is some of the problems that AI has, and that's where you can pick up, and I'm going to show you a different image in a little bit to show one that is blatantly AI-generated. But anyway, this is a thing that you can check for. Use your logical mind looking at an AI image and look carefully at some of the details of it. Does that line follow correctly? Is the reflection correct? Is the reflection over here correct? Is there a reflection in one thing that disconnected from another? Fair things to ask when you're talking about AI-related images. Fake images often lack consistency in the reflections between each eye, whereas real images generally show the same reflections in both eyes. To measure the shapes of galaxies, we analyze whether they're essentially compact, whether they're symmetric, and how smooth they are. We analyze the light distribution, said Pimblett. We detect the reflections in an automated way and run their morphological features through the CAS, concentration, asymmetry, smoothness, and Gini indices to compare similarity between left and right eyeballs. The findings show that deepfakes have some differences between the pair. The Gini coefficient is normally used to measure how light in an image of a galaxy is distributed among its pixels. This measurement is made by ordering the pixels that make up the image of a galaxy in ascending order by flux, and then comparing the result to what would be expected from a perfectly even flux distribution. A Gini value of 0 is a galaxy in which light is evenly distributed across all of the image's pixels, while a Gini value of 1 is a galaxy with all the light concentrated in a single pixel. The team also tested CIS parameters, a tool originally developed by astronomers to measure the light distribution of galaxies to determine their morphology, but found it was not a successful predictor of fake eyes. It's important to note that this is not a silver bullet for detecting fake images, Pimblett added. Yes, absolutely. There are false positives and false negatives. It's not going to get everything, but this method provides us with a basis, a plan of attack in the arms race to detect deepfakes. So, I bring this up for one thing because this is a great example of how a study in one particular field, astronomy as it were, could be translated into a different field like AI related thing, and AI image making in particular, and how to detect deepfakes. So that's a really nice crossover, because science doesn't have to be restricted to one particular discipline. You can take something that you learn in one discipline, or a technique that you've used in one discipline, and with proper understanding of how that technique works, apply it to another. And that's what they did here with this particular analysis. The other thing is that this points to the issue with AIs in training and how they regenerate images. I very much agree with Kieran White over at the Crowdsource podcast, because of his expertise in AI built up, along with the photojournalism aspect, is that an AI image is basically a regenerated image created from chunks of other images that it's been trained on. But because it's created with all of those different chunks, you can have breakdowns in the image that's output that to a careful observer you can spot. And the same thing with the AI-generated videos. You can spot weird stuff in there that wouldn't be there if it were actually a photo taken by somebody, taken by a person. And let me show you an example. Now, I'm not going to say this is Kamala Harris or what have you with that. There's still some bits of speculation going on with this photo, but if you've heard the news by now, as of this date, there has been some reporting that the Harris campaign is using AI to generate crowd images and what have you. Not necessarily true, but not necessarily true to my knowledge. I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of reporting on that. I leave that to others. My point with this is to point out what kind of weird inconsistencies you can have in an AI-generated image that would present a problem and give you a cue that it is fake. And a lot of that comes down to inconsistencies in the lines and shapes that you see in the image. And I'm thinking about it from an artistic perspective, because if you've been around on this channel long enough, you know, aside from being a scientist and off of YouTube here, I do actually do a lot of work, particularly with glass work and the artistic things. So I'm thinking about lines and shapes with this. And the red circles here actually pointed out pretty well, like this. This here with the glasses going off all askew like this. This is really, really artificial. I mean, it looks like this eye is closed and this eye is open, even if you're looking close enough. Similarly here, these are almost perfectly matching faces, actually, which you would never expect to see in a photo, is to see somebody perfectly matching, except for maybe somebody who's a twin. Here's another weird oddity up here. Somebody looks like they're a cyclops. That kind of thing. Odd, very odd things right here. Another one right here. More in this particular ear is another one really bad right here. Those kinds of cues, usually it's not this obvious, but you can find subtle things like this that can help you pick out a deepfake, a deepfake AI-generated image. And so that kind of research to give us more methods to point to AI-generated images and say that that's fake is good, but you can also use your common sense and just be thinking about it from the perspective of, you know, does this make sense? It doesn't mean you're going to catch everything, because there is a lot of very good AI imagery that's coming out in AI videos as that technology advances, again, much to a mess of STEM zone making. But you can spot a lot of the really wild stuff like this. So use your kind of common sense with these things and take a good close look at an image if it looks really suspect, or even if it doesn't. And you might find some deepfakes. And so while we have more research on that subject, that doesn't mean you can't use your common sense to help you pick out an AI deepfake. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button on the way out the door, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that lovely good jazz. Until next time, I'm Adrian. Stay curious.